When Fortnite first took the world by storm, we were all in a much different place than we are today. Join me in my story of how Fortnite pulled me back into gaming, how I overcame mental health issues, and how it all inspired me to dive into content creation. It was the summer of 2017 and the world was beginning to unravel. I won't go into the specifics of the politics and the culture at the time, but let's just say things were heating up, starting to get pretty crazy. My life was just as chaotic, if not more. I had just managed to get out of a very long lasting toxic relationship. My 30th birthday was right around the corner, and I was working as a freelance musician. I had fallen in with a group of guys that were into experimental math rap music, and we were always grinding in the studio. One day, one of the guys bought a used Xbox and brought it to rehearsal. For those of you who don't know, music studios usually have gaming consoles and other entertainment in them because not everyone is working all the time during a session. There's often downtime where one person is tracking in the booth and the rest of the group has the option to either watch or do their own thing. At the time, I wasn't much of a gamer. I had gamed more in my past. My first game and console was Super Mario Land on the Game Boy. But after college, my focus had shifted to my music career. My finger was nowhere near the pulse of gaming news. In fact, around that time, I sold my entire retro game collection and consoles for some quick cash. I still laugh myself to sleep at night for this because I had some gems on the Super Nintendo. And at the time, I had never heard of Fortnite or Battle Royale. Even during the PUBG explosion, I was completely under a rock. So my colleague launched into the first game of Fortnite I had ever seen, and immediately my attention was captured by the art style. I noticed how smooth and vibrant it was, and I remember thinking I had never seen a game quite like it before. "Do you want to try it?" my colleague asked me. "Sure, why not? How do you play?" I said, grabbing the controller. "You just have to be the last one alive to win." Out of 100 real live players, I had never heard of anything like this. I was familiar with online PvP since I grew up with games like Counter-Strike 1.6, Star Wars Battlefront, and even the original Warcraft, but a game of 100 people was unheard of at the time to me. I forget if I got a win or how many kills I got, but I do remember being hooked instantly. After getting eliminated, I wanted to hop into the next game and try again. The gaming bug had bit me. I needed just one more round again and again. But in my adulthood, I've always been a budget gamer, so I never bought a console when it was early in its life cycle. I had acquired a PS3 at some point earlier, well after the PS4 had been released, and while everyone was playing the PS3 in the previous gen, I was still playing the PS2. My PS3 came from a pawn shop for a steal of a price, but if you can't remember back then, the shelves were filled with used games you can get for $5 to $10 each. So I began to build myself a little library. I discovered and played games like Borderlands, NBA 2K, Dark Souls, Red Dead Redemption, and Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Playing my PS3 at home definitely kept me entertained, but nothing scratched my itch quite like playing Fortnite in the studio. So there I was, any chance I could get, working on music and catching dubs in between. I even played on mobile just so I could get my fix on my own screen and so we could all squad up. My colleagues and I played so much Fortnite that it inspired us to write music using the sound effects from the game. Link to some of that music below if you're curious. Life breezed by for the next couple years, and I went through some major shifts related to mental and behavioral health issues that had been affecting me for decades. But those are details for a different time. Basically, I was on the road to recovery and my whole outlook on life was evolving. Leave a comment if you would like me to make a video focusing on mental health and gaming. The year was 2019 when I went back to the pawn shop and finally bought my very own PS4. I didn't know it at the time, but this piece of hardware would change my life forever. The main driving factor for entering the 8th gen at the end of its lifespan was solely to play Fortnite, as it wasn't available on the previous gen. When I brought the console home and plugged it into my 55-inch, I immediately realized I just made a major upgrade. This console was not only faster and stronger than my previous one, but it was more social forward in its interface as well. I discovered I could stream on Twitch, and that piqued my interest. I had only ever heard of Twitch, I never spent any time on the platform, so without knowing what I was doing, I made a Twitch account and began broadcasting my gameplay. I soon after realized I needed a headset, so I went out to Big Lots and bought an awful and uncomfortable $10 headset. I made it work though, and used it all the way until the beginning of Warzone taking over in March of 2020. Ah, yes, March of 2020, when the pandemic lockdown hit and many people rushed to the internet to start making content as a stay at home hobby. I was among this crowd, and thankfully, because of my recent pawn shop purchase, I was able to participate. But then I went down a rabbit hole of FOMO driven purchases, thinking that this would aid me in becoming a better content creator. I bought a low end PC, a capture card, headsets, pro controllers. These things were merely material, but the truth was, I was just a newbie trying to stay afloat in tumultuous waters. At one point, I was convinced I needed a high end gaming PC and even ordered one from a reputable pre build company, but I canceled the order when I upgraded from my PS4 to an Xbox Series S. Yes, I realize this is an interesting time to switch gaming platforms, and nothing compares to a gaming PC, but like I said before, I'm a budget gamer, and I couldn't argue with the price point of the Series S. I had already switched from TV to a monitor, which in itself was a big upgrade, but my PS4 wasn't taking advantage of the resolution and refresh rate, so the Xbox has been a huge upgrade, and with the help of Game Pass Ultimate, I don't regret ditching my PlayStation library at all. Anyways, you may have noticed I kind of strayed off the topic of Fortnite for now. That's because at this time, which was around 2020 to 2023, I played Warzone mainly. It captured my heart because I had more friends playing it, and let's be real, that game was like crack. Those times were so much fun, and I met a lot of people online that I still kick it with now through that game. I even went somewhat viral on TikTok for showcasing what an average console player actually looks like, and that became my hook that I still use to this day. But let's face it, Warzone is not what it used to be, and it's actually pretty exhausting trying to keep up with leveling up new guns every year. So here I am back where I started when I first hit that go live button, covering Fortnite. It is the game that I have the most fun on, even while playing solo. No other battle royale is centered around fun while at the same time being competitive like Fortnite. And the game has only improved with more fluidity over time. When I logged back in, I was welcomed into my old account that I made when I was playing on mobile. I'm grateful for this because I have one OG skin on my account to let everybody know I was there during the beginning. Because of my experience as a musician, entertainer, and being in recovery, I have a unique perspective to offer in my content. I enjoy gaming with a positive attitude and believe in the members of my community that they can reach their full potential as humans and gamers. I'm not a pro gamer with godly skill, nor an extraordinary man. I'm a pretty normal and average guy trying to improve at life and having fun while doing it, sharing my love for gaming and having my try-hard moments. If you resonate with my content, please subscribe. I'm building a community of gamers who are passionate and know how to have fun no matter what system they play on. And if you have any questions, please leave a comment. I will respond. So thank you for watching. The Duke abides.